UFC Vegas 100. This is the weigh-in recap show, full card predictions, and the betting breakdown. What's left of the card, we've had multiple fights canceled, and it's no longer the same UFC Vegas card which we had this past Sunday when the original breakdown came. We're going to run through it final time. Looking forward to talking about each of the matchups after seeing the fighters on the scales. Make sure you guys smash the likes. If you're new, subscribe it up. Turn the post notifications on and make sure you share the video too. And also note, I'm going to be live for the entire UFC Vegas 100 fight card this Saturday. Today, probably for some of you. For me, it's tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So don't miss the fight companion. And let's get into the first fight of the night. Ladies going after it here. And we had weight miss number 1. We got Melissa Mullins and Klaudia Syguła. What's crazy is Klaudia comes in on short notice, and she's the one that makes weight. We got Mullins coming in at 138, 137, over the limit. Not a great look for her, missing this damn bantamweight limit. I think that she may potentially be just a tad bit heavy for the weight class because she missed weight last time out against Nora Cornell. She can't get it figured out. Hard weigh-in. I've been picking Mullins all week. If you've been following, I've been picking Mullins, but definitely not a great betting pick because she's a minus 260 favorite. I think Klaudia has a chance in this fight. She's a pretty talented girl from the lower level scene. She's got grappling skills. She has striking skill. I would rate Klaudia as the better striker. I would say she's cleaner on the feet for sure. Where the disadvantage may potentially show itself is on the ground. Melissa Mullins, at least on paper, is the better grappler. Syguła has been taken down a bit in the past. Now, we're going to check out how the fighters officially looked on the scale, and we'll check out the face-offs too. Let me pop out the Zin as we keep running it. So, first, we got future OF legend, model herself, Klaudia. Listen, she doesn't look impressive on the scale, to say the least. She did take the fight on short notice, but she doesn't seem to have like tremendous muscularity or like low body fat. She's not in fantastic shape. Mullins on the opposite side can't make weight. She looks okay on the scale. Little sucked in, but like it doesn't seem like she had such a horrendous weight cut. I don't know. For some reason, she can't get that damn weight down. And then we're going to pull up the face-offs. You can see Syguła a little bit taller. I'll be honest. Aura favoring Syguła all day. And you know what? Side by side, she looks kind of lean. Comparing the, frames of the two, they just have completely different builds. I can't sit confidently on a Melissa Mullins pick, but like I'm going to pick flip to try and chase Klaudia. I don't know. Melissa Mullins is at risk of gassing, and I do think she's at risk of getting hurt to the body. But what I do know is she has 3 straight fights against girls who currently fight in the UFC, whereas Klaudia, her last fight was against a girl who's literally 6-9 as a pro. So I can't confidently pick a completely unproven prospect. I'll stick with Melissa Mullins. I would not gamble on Melissa Mullins. I don't think that would make much sense. Syguła's line is better at plus 210. Who knows how this fight is going to look? Syguła's young and a promising prospect where Melissa Mullins could potentially be a UFC washout. As I talk about this fight, I'm really tempting myself to pick flip simply on the ages between the damn girls and how they looked on the scales. I mean, over minus 245. Do I want to pick flip on this one? I don't know. I feel a ring in my ear, like you might be looking at the pick flip of the week. You might be looking at the dog to jump on. I got a weird feeling with this ladies fight. Ivana Petrovic was robbed in the first fight of the night as an underdog on the last UFC card. Klaudia Syguła is an underdog here of similar size in a fight where the skill sets don't seem to be that vast. Do I want to do it live? Oh my God, I'm looking for a coin next to me. I might just have to do it on the phone. Let's do it. Hey Siri, flip a coin. Head Syguła. It's heads. We're pick flipping. Syguła for the win. I'm doing it just purely off a coin flip. That shows the confidence on this low-level women's MMA. Melissa Mullins has good grappling. Her takedowns are quality. Syguła's a decent grappler in her own right, though, and she does have some striking. I was torn on the pick earlier in the week, seeing Mullins miss weight, seeing Syguła look good enough on the scale on short notice and being a little bit larger. If she can stop takedowns, she can win. The coin flip tells me to pick flip. We'll go for the underdog because I think that a first fight of the night underdog makes a lot of sense on this card, especially because last card we had a robbery in the first fight of the night with a women's underdog, and I am slightly superstitious. So 3 knocks of the wood, and we got Syguła pick flipping it for the upset in a fight that is random AF. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we got Tresean Gore versus Antonio Trócoli. I'm picking Tresean Gore in this fight. I've been riding with him throughout the week. I really like his striking edge in this fight. He's got a lot of power in his hands. He's explosive. He does actually have pretty decent wrestling too. I would say Trócoli's got better pure jiu-jitsu than him. I'm not going to sit here and argue that, but I think Tresean Gore's MMA skills are pretty sound. He's a lot shorter, and he's down 5 inches in reach. But to be fair, I think that Trócoli's a little slow, right? His striking, not slow mentally. I'm not saying he's slow in that way. But I think as far as his footwork on the slower side, his punches on the slower side, doesn't really have good boxing. I guess you could say he has kind of an okay jab. He got picked apart last time by Shara Bullet, and I know Shara Bullet looked pretty good against Armen Petrosian, and, his stock has increasingly grown since the fight against Trócoli. I think Tresean Gore is pretty athletic, and I think he can deal with Trócoli's size, and I see Tresean Gore knocking Trócoli out. I think he's got the power to do it. He's a heavy-handed guy. He's really explosive. I still think he's a talented prospect with a lot of promise. Ultimate Fighter finalist too. Yes, he's at a big height and reach disadvantage, and he's dealing with a BJJ threat on the opposite side, but with pretty good hips, nice explosiveness in his striking, and a well-rounded MMA game that is, yet to be fine-tuned. But last time he beat a very tall and lanky Josh Frem by sub. Tresean Gore, I believe, is very live to win this fight against Antonio Trócoli, and I am picking him to pull through, and I'm going to say he gets a finish. Could see it going distance. He's been out for like 2 years, but could potentially see Tresean Gore look better than ever before now that he's 30 and truly in his prime. Let's check out the scales between these two. We got the salute from Antonio Trócoli, saluting the crowd. Looks like freaking military man Trócoli representing Brazil with pride here this week and representing Mackenzie Dern too, his girl. Then we got Tresean Gore looking grinny and happy. To be honest, Beetlejuice-like smile though. Lester Green Beetlejuice, similar smiles. Holy shit. Tresean Gore is explosive. I like his striking. I like Tresean's chance. Let's check out the face-off between the two. You see, Trócoli looks a weight class or 2 bigger. Holy shit. How the fuck are these guys both 185? Like, Trócoli looks like a light heavyweight, and he's fought at light heavyweight before, and Tresean looks like a welterweight. What's weird about it is Trócoli was actually down fighting at welterweight at one point. Bro, Trócoli's aura looks intense, but I'm not pick flipping based off the vibe on the scale on this one. I'm going to believe in the tape, and I'm going to believe in the technical skills that Tresean Gore should bring to the table, and I'm sticking with the original call. There's not going to be no double pick flip here. We're riding with Tresean to find a way. Now, at minus 170, being out 2 years, a little bit of a chalk favorite line, not loving it. Plus 145, Trócoli on the opposite side. Betting side on this one, I don't really feel drawn towards. There's better bets on the card, which we'll talk about. But looking at a D-Gen call, this is purely D-Gen. This is just to play devil's advocate. Trócoli by sub is upwards of what? Plus 450 if you find it at the right spot. His, best likely chance to win is probably a sub. But I think Gore's got power. I think he can win a fight going long, or I think he can win a fight that ends inside of a round or two with his explosive punching and knockout ability. So I think Tresean Gore is good to go, and I think he's going to get it done, but not necessarily loving the size differential. But more than that, it's the 2-year layoff, which worries me a bit. But I do believe in Tresean Gore. I watched the whole Ultimate Fighter season he was on. I always thought he was a really talented prospect, and I will continue to believe in Tresean. So we're going with Tresean Gore to get it done. I think that he beats Antonio Trócoli and gets a 2-fight win streak going in the UFC. Last time he destroyed Frem. Nearly snapped Josh Frem's neck. Next fight on the card, we have Cody Stamann versus Blackshear. So, this one's interesting. I think Blackshear should win this fight. He's coming off of a really bad loss to Montel Jackson, which has to make you worry a bit. It was 3 months ago. He was knocked out in 18 seconds. But he's definitely not dealing with the same level of slickness on the side of Cody Stamann, nor is he dealing with the southpaw. Cody Stamann's 35. He's got pretty good wrestling. He's got solid control and takedowns. He puts good pressure on his opponents, but to be fair, hasn't looked incredible as of late. And Blackshear, I guess you could say the same. His loss to Mario Batista is something that I actually hold in high regard as an impressive feat, because he took that fight on like a week's notice, day's notice. He fought the weekend prior, and he got a twister win over Jose Johnson. Then he took on Mario Batista, and he gave Mario Batista all he could handle, even landed takedowns in that fight. And I think that his stock rose incredibly for his performance there. So then to follow it up with an easy knockout loss to Montel Jackson, it makes you worry exactly where Blackshear's head is at. But I feel like Blackshear is a talented guy. His striking is pretty quality. His wrestling game is notably good. His jiu-jitsu game is better than Cody Stamann's. He's got a big height and reach advantage, and he's also 5 years younger than Cody Stamann too. So I'm going to pick Blackshear. I believe he's actually live for a submission in this fight. He's pretty crafty on the ground, and I would consider him more of a finisher. I know Stamann relatively durable, but he's been subbed in fights before. We got Blackshear. To be honest, he looks surprised at the camera taking the picture. Damon, you're weighing in for the UFC, my guy. Come on, don't look so surprised. How many UFC fights you got now, dude? Then we got Cody Stamann. Cody Stamann, 5-6 years ago. Now he looks like Cody Stamann's uncle from that time, right? Uncle Cody Stamann. Holy shit. He definitely looks a bit sunken in. You can see the weight cut. Even though he's a shorter guy, it's a lot for him because he's pretty muscular. I think that Blackshear is going to work him. The big size edge, the age. I think Stamann's past his best days, and I think Blackshear has an opportunity to make a statement and get back on track with a very impressive submission finish, but will not shock me if we got 3 rounds to work. Either way, Blackshear the pick, and I've confidently picked Blackshear all week. I think he's talented. I like his game. Well-versed guy, size advantage, youth edge, should be the winner. Blackshear is minus 262 as the favorite currently. Stamann at plus 222. I like Blackshear's chance to pull through. Let's see. Where's that subline? Submission win for Blackshear sits at plus 400. I do think Blackshear is live to lock up a submission. I don't think that's crazy for the odds because he's got really nice submission skills, and with his length, I think he's live for chokes in this fight. I'll pick Blackshear, and I'm going to actually go towards the sub call, which is a little bit unconventional, but I definitely think the straight line is good in a money line, and I think Blackshear is taking home a nice W. So Blackshear to get it done. Let's keep on running up the card, and let's jump to the next fight on it, which is between Charles Radtke and Matthew Semelsberger. I've been picking Radtke throughout the week. I think Semelsberger, in a sense, he's kind of fallen off. I don't know. He's not old, though. He's not even 32 yet. He's actually younger than Radtke, but like there's more of a feeling of Radtke being the up-and-coming prospect here, and like Semelsberger kind of being the old gatekeeper. I really think Radtke could surprise Semelsberger with his jiu-jitsu. I would say Charles Radtke is underrated on the ground. He's got notable grappling skills, and word on the street is he's got a gnarly guillotine. Word on the street is he even put a beating on a ex-UFC champ many years ago in training while ex-fighter was the champion. And I think that Charles Radtke is really talented. And I think you can't write him off because Prates knocked him out with a knee to the body. Fight before that, he destroyed Urbina, who's honestly like kind of slick, and at least you could call him durable at worst. I think Radtke's live to finish Semelsberger. I think he can make this a hard fight on the feet. I think Semelsberger struggles to land takedowns on Radtke. I think if anybody's landing a takedown, it's Radtke. And if Semelsberger looks to engage in grappling, I won't be surprised if Radtke jumps Gilly and he locks it in. I'm going to go with Radtke for the sub. That's what I've been feeling all week, and I've been excited to see the scales. There's Chuck Buffalo with the double middle fingers, staying in character. Love to see it. He looks in phenomenal shape. Matt Semelsberger, to be honest with you, I was driving to the gym today, and I saw this homeless guy standing outside of the Wendy's, and I thought it was him. Matt Semelsberger, what he needs to do is just trim the beard down a little bit. That beard is telling of a guy that's in gatekeeper status. I like Semelsberger. He's a gritty dude. He's powerful. I've picked him a lot in the past. But I don't love the look here. I don't love the physique here. He's in okay shape. Radtke's in better shape. He just doesn't seem primed right now. And I think Radtke looks ready to go. Radtke looking jacked and thick. I think he's going to work Semelsberger. I think Radtke's live to get a finish. I think submission could shock a lot of people, but could be the actual method of victory that ends up coming to fruition. Is that a weed tattoo on Radtke's left arm? That kind of looks like weed, man. That looks like a little cannabis tat with a little, I don't know, some type of psychedelic substance drawing in the middle. I don't know if that's true. Maybe it's not that. But when you look closely, that's what it seems to be. I want to zoom in further. Let's see. Is that a weed leaf? I really don't know what else that could be. Unless it's poison ivy. I don't know. One of the two. Cannabis flower or poison ivy. Either way, I think that he's the kryptonite to Semelsberger, who, I don't know. Just his aura is kind of gone now. He's on a 3-fight losing streak. Hasn't looked great in a while. Always gritty, but I think flawed. And I think that Radtke's better than him. Minus 170 for Charles Radtke with Semelsberger at plus 146. What's interesting here, we can look towards what? Radtke to win by sub, which is my call, which I guess is degenerate AF because the line is plus 650. Radtke does have 2 wins by submission as a pro, and he's got notable grappling skills in like grappling competitions from things that I've heard. And I'll anticipate that Semelsberger underrates the submission threat and ends up getting caught in something. But don't be shocked if Radtke drops hammers on Semelsberger and knocked him out either. But more than likely, I think submission. Could see Radtke outdogging Semelsberger over 3 hard rounds too. But Chuck Buffalo to win the fight, got a good ring to it. Let's run it with Charles Radtke. Close money odds too. Definitely a good value for a parlay piece. We'll talk at the end about parlays. Next fight, this is a new fight. It's Elizeu Zaleski versus Zach Scroggin. I picked Elizeu Zaleski as soon as I saw this fight was announced, but it wasn't a part of my full card breakdown Sunday because the fight didn't exist then. Zach Scroggin is a talented prospect. He's 7-0 as a pro. He's unbeaten as an amateur, has a good pressure wrestling game, is pretty tall. Doesn't really have good reach, though, for his height. He's actually got relatively short arms for being 6'3". He's only got, what, a 6'2.5" reach? That's interesting. That's an interesting note. Short arm Scroggin. I think he's going to have a hard time just, like, pressure wrestling and taking Zaleski down. I mean, the last few guys that he's fought have been past their best days and have been absolute journeyman. Like Zach Busha, Josh Weston, Josh Tully. And then you jump in against Elizeu Zaleski, who gave Rinat Fakhretdinov all he could handle a year ago. I think that Zaleski is live to finish Zach Scroggin. I believe Zaleski's still good enough to take out somebody debuting. I thought Zaleski was going to be in a close and competitive fight against Nicholas Dalby. To now throw him an unproven guy that isn't, finishing a Zach Busha on the regional scene. And then granted, he's got some submissions, but guys with nowhere near the jiu-jitsu level of Zaleski. I think Zaleski can shine on the feet. I think he can do damage. If this fight hits the ground, Zaleski should be fine. And I'm going to say Zaleski gets the finish. He did a lot of damage to BSD in Benoit's debut. And, it ended up going distance because the referees just let him take a beating. But in this fight here, I don't necessarily think that the same amount of damage is able to be absorbed by Zach Scroggin. So I'm going to go with Zaleski for a knockout. I think he's going to get a violent finish, especially against a short notice Scroggin. Let's see. Scroggin honestly doesn't look too good on the scales. He kind of looks just like generic white guy fighter build in like UFC 5 or like Undisputed, the boxing game, or like Fight Night. That's actually kind of funny. Not in fabulous shape, but can you expect him to be when you take a fight on real short notice like this? Did he come in over? Yes, he did. He came in 3 pounds over the limit Not surprised because he was real short notice, but you can see it on his frame that he's definitely not in tip-top shape. On the opposite side, Zaleski looks really good. Ripped up, shredded, per usual, and seems confident. You can see the face-off. Scroggin a little taller, but I see him get knocked out. Are you guys feeling it too? I'm getting Beverly Hills Ninja, Jordan Wright vibes from Scroggin right now, and I think he's live to get absolutely starched on the feet. He also looks kind of like a smaller Stipe Miocic, like a young Stipe. That's the vibe I get. If that was Stipe's nephew, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe a mix of like Bisping's son, Callum Bisping, as well in the lineup. And unfortunately, the trio of guys that, he looks like it ain't giving him a win over Elizeu Zaleski. So Zaleski should win this thing, and I think he's live for a KO win too. Odds suck. Minus 800 for Zaleski with Scroggin at plus 525. So give me the Zaleski minus 800. Oh my God, this sucks. Probably under 2.5 at minus 155. Probably Zaleski by KO plus 115. Inside distance at minus 145. The odds are absolute shit for this fight, but the pick is going to be Elizeu Zaleski to get it done in relatively violent fashion against a guy that is coming in on short notice and is probably not ready for someone that's top 20. He's ranked number 23 at welterweight. He's essentially a top 20 welterweight. And the fact that he did good against Fakhretdinov late, doesn't give me any confidence in Zach Scroggin. I think he's in real trouble. So Zaleski to win for sure. Let's get to the next fight on the card. It is our featured prelim of the night. We have Karolina Kowalkiewicz versus Denise Gomes. Of course, I'm picking Denise Gomes. Before we had a fight cancellation, Sopa and Turcios. Denise Gomes was a part of a lock parlay, but we're going to have to mix and match that at the end of the show, so stay tuned. Yeah, I'm sticking with Denise Gomes. I don't care how the scales look. Denise Gomes should win. She's substantially faster in the striking department. She's better with her boxing. I think she's explosive and quick. Kowalkiewicz is 39. She's probably going to need to get this fight on the ground, but I don't think she has the takedown ability to do such a thing. I can't see her out kickboxing Denise Gomes for 3 rounds. I feel like Gomes 30-27, probably what's going to come to fruition. Kowalkiewicz might have a couple moments in exchanges, but I see her getting outstruck, and I do see her getting busted up a little bit in this fight. It wouldn't be insane if Gomes knocked her out, because Gomes does have KOs. Bruna Brazil and Haragi KO. Last fight, split decision with Eduardo Mora, but Mora's literally a really good grappling prospect, completely opposite styles of Kowalkiewicz, who does have decent jiu-jitsu, but more notably a striker. I think Denise Gomes is live to beat her up. She's going to be a lot quicker. She'll land harder punches to the face, and I think big hook combinations coming in on the inside and not giving up that much reach either. She's an inch shorter with an inch less reach. I expect her to connect at a pretty high hit rate with punches. So Denise Gomes all day. Denise Gomes rocking the new look, the buzz cut. Kind of got that cholo buzz cut going. Listen, I think it actually works for her though. The, low fade for Denise Gomes without the blonde hair. Okay, I respect it. In a sense, she kind of looks like a baby if you just eliminate the earrings from the picture. I like the haircut. And then on the opposite side, Kowalkiewicz. Listen, Karolina Kowalkiewicz, I swear to you, she looks like a nanny, bro. Like if you told me, yeah, that's the nanny of the British family down the street. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. She looks like she's probably 39, 40. I don't want to say she looks like Nanny McPhee or anything because I'm not flaming her like that. She doesn't. But I'm getting a very nanny vibe from her, or maybe if you've watched any of those old witch movies from the UK, like one of the more neutral witches, the Good Witch. That's the vibe I get from her. She looks like a witch, but she doesn't look like the Wicked Witch of the West. I'm going with the side of Denise Gomes to get it done. I mean, look at the face off. It's a whole different aura between the two. Gomes looks still pretty jacked and shredded, especially for the women's weight classes. Kowalkiewicz is in okay shape, looks like a runner, And Gomes should dominate. Gomes all day long. So not going to be a competitive fight. I would be surprised if it was. Minus 500 for Denise Gomes. Talk about good odds. Fuck. Plus 385 Kowalkiewicz. Not great lines. Looking towards some magic. What can I do? Can I create some magic? Probably not. Gomes decision, minus 145. Listen, if she gets a KO, it's plus 275. Denise Gomes, of all women fighters, like, you got to respect 6 knockout wins. Kowalkiewicz was KO'd once. It was a hook over the top from the very powerful Jessica Andrade. But at 39, maybe Denise Gomes has the power to knock her out. I like Gomes to get it done, the straight money line, but the odds suck. Definitely something you're forced to parlay, which is unfortunate, but that is the freaking fight game. So Denise Gomes to get it done, KO win, and the 24-year-old prospect should continue to rise. She seems top 15 level. I think she's close to it. I mean, losses to Angela Hill and Loma Lukbume, not bad else to have for being not even 25 years old. Gomes gets it done. Next fight on the card, it brings us to our main card opener. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you all smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We got Meerschaert Abdul-Malik versus Duško Todorović. I've been picking Meerschaert Abdul-Malik to beat Duško Todorović up on the ground. I am becoming a true Duško Todorović doubter. I mean, Beverly Hills Ninja, Jordan Wright, took him down and beat him up from top position. And now I'm supposed to believe someone with a Division I wrestling background and very good MMA grappling isn't going to take him down, beat him up, and finish the job? Meerschaert Abdul-Malik has the physicality edge, being an inch taller, but brings in a 6-inch reach advantage. I think that allows him to do okay in the striking. And the way that Todorović strikes is kind of like a barroom brawler. In a sense, he's like a lesser version of Marc-Andre Barriault. He likes to mix it up with hooks on the inside, sit down, and scrap. He'll break some guys doing that, but I think Meerschaert Abdul-Malik is too talented. He'll get this fight to the ground. He'll do some damage from top position, probably a bit of ground and pound. Submission could open up, but potentially ground and pound finish too. And I don't think Meerschaert Abdul-Malik is a dead man in the striking with just his athleticism, his natural gift of speed, and his 80-inch reach. Let's check out the scales between the two. Let's see. We got Duško Todorović. I mean, he looks in decent shape. I can't really knock Duško, besides he looks kind of like a thumb. Meerschaert Abdul-Malik, he just seems like a chill dude, man. Very chill vibes. Seems like a quiet and calm guy. Little bit of, I don't know, just a calm demeanor, I would describe it as. And I feel like it's reflective of his fights. He seems pretty calm for a guy making his debut. There's the face-off between the two. Let's see if Meerschaert Abdul-Malik is good. We're really going to find out. I mean, if he can't get past the Duško Todorović, I think his potential is definitely stifled substantially. But he should take this fight to the ground and beat the shit out of Todorović. Todorović is, like I said, a good barroom brawler, but he's taking on a good wrestler here with good ground and pound and control. I think Malik inside distance is live. He's minus 457, which is hideous. Plus 357 for Todorović. Looking towards Malik to win inside distance, minus 240. That's shit, but better than nothing. What's the sub call? Malik by sub is plus 800. I know he's not necessarily known as a submission ace, but does have one win by sub. It was a Gilly, and he does. Granted, the guy was 2-5. Holy shit, Brexton Everett. Then you look at like recent wins, all ground and pound in the past couple. He takes fights to the ground and he does good work. And Wes Schultz is actually not a bad wrestler. And Meerschaert Abdul-Malik was able to beat him up from top position and get a finish. I don't rate Todorović's wrestling all that high. And I think Meerschaert Abdul-Malik does something similar to what he does to Wes Schultz. There might be sloppy moments and you might be worried a little bit. But I think Malik can outdog Todorović and probably finish him off with big shots on the ground. So going to go with Meerschaert Abdul-Malik to get the win. Granted, he's only 6-0. He's got, substantially less fight experience. But he seems like a promising guy. And taking on a brawling prospect like Todorović, I think he's good to win. I think he's live to pull through. Next fight on the card, we have Luana Pinheiro versus Jillian Robertson. I've been picking Jillian Robertson all day, as I will assume most people are. She's going to have a substantial grappling advantage. I think that Luana Pinheiro shouldn't even be in the top 15. She's kind of a product of timing. Like, she got a split decision win over Michelle Waterson Gomes. She lost to Amanda Ribas and lost to Angela Hill. So all of the girls that she's fought, that were, ranked opponents, like 1-2 record, and Michelle Waterson Gomes is well past her best days. We saw last time out, Jillian Robertson beat the absolute crap out of her. Fight before that, she finished Polyana Viana. I think Robertson should get it done. The only recent loss for her is literally Tabitha Ritchie, who's on her way to a potential title fight in 2025. At least the UFC is trying to give her every chance to get that title fight. Pinheiro's going to get taken down and beaten up. Pinheiro comes from a judo base, but she's a kickboxer. Her boyfriend, Matthias Nicolau, was a very movement-based striking style, and I swear it's completely rubbed off on Luana Pinheiro. She likes to strike from range. It's a lot of lateral movement. She doesn't exchange a ton on the inside. She's not horrible. Of course, she's got the judo background, could potentially, shockingly time a throw, but I don't know. I think Jillian Robertson at 116 official weigh-in, but at women's straw is substantially better than she ever was in the women's flyweight division, and she has so much UFC experience. She's been around for a very long time, and I like her forward pressure. I like her takedowns. I like the fact that she looks for finishes on the floor, and I think Robertson should dominate this fight. Let's check out the scales. Let's see what we're looking at between these two ladies. We got Jillian Robertson looking shredded up and ready to rock. She looks like the redheaded demon, bro. The red hair works for her. I like Jillian's style. She's saying rear naked choke. She's letting us know. Luana Pinheiro looks like she just came out of the salon. But to be fair, though, impressive bicep. Good physique on Pinheiro. And then nose-to-nose face-off. But who wins the battle of the face-off? We got Pinheiro leaning all the way back. You got Robertson right in her face. So body language battle, you favor Robertson 10-8. So I think Jillian Robertson with a wrestling pressure attack is going to have a lot of success. This is like Jillian Robertson 2.0. It's not like the young Robertson. This is a girl who's been in the UFC a very long time. She has a mission here, and I think it's to be, one of the top 10 girls in the world. And I think she's got the potential to definitely get past the test of Luana Pinheiro. Plus 305 for Luana Pinheiro as a massive dog. I actually am not surprised. Minus 370 for Robertson. I really don't think Pinheiro is top 15 material, whereas I think the complete opposite with Robertson. To get a win by submission, Robertson is sitting at just plus 110. The official method of victory pick, I will call her getting it done by submission, but it wouldn't be absolutely unfathomable if she lands takedowns, controls, beats up Pinheiro a bit from top, grinds to a decision win. But, with Pinheiro coming off a submission loss to Angela Hill, who's a kickboxer last time out, you really have to assume that Jillian Robertson has a high probability of locking up a sub. So Robertson, the Savage, to get the win. Next fight on the card, it brings us to our featured bout of the night. It's Cortavious Romious versus Gaston Bolanos. I've been picking Cortavious Romious throughout the week, and I have made some bold statements about Bolanos' striking being overrated. I simply think that because he has a background in professional striking, he gets a lot of hype, and because he's got a nice spin elbow knockout in Bellator, he gets a lot of hype. But he's an incredibly suspect grappler. I would rate him as like a D-tier grappler. Romious has a good grappling skill set, but on top of that, he's actually pretty slick on the feet. I will give respect, though. If Bolanos lands clean on the chin, he can knock out a lot of guys in the back end of the bantamweight division, but I don't think he's incredibly crisp with his boxing. He's got good Muay Thai kicks, and he's got good Muay Thai elbows, but his actual boxing skill is kind of meh. I'm not overly impressed. He's got okay straights, but he reaches for the right hand a lot, and that does put him out of position at times. Romious, the ability to capitalize on that mistake and land a counter shot. And then the also obvious, path to victory is him getting the fight to the ground. He's a very capable grappler, but with good boxing too, he's got a nice, well-rounded tool set that should probably allow him to finish Bolanos. I think submission is very live. I think Romious has a good chance of getting to the back of Bolanos. We're going to check them out on the scales. Let's see. Cortavious Romious, double fist up in the air. Good physique on him. Good shape. I like what I'm seeing from him. Gaston Bolanos. If you squint, you see Ilia Topuria. You know what I'm saying. If you squint, though, you got to squint hard. And then there's the face-off between the two. You know what? I won't lie to you. From this angle, Cortavious Romious looks like he just got electrocuted with the way his hair is up and his eyes are wide open. Looks like something out of a damn Marlon Wayans movie, bro. Holy shit. Bolanos staring into his soul. I'm not flipping a pick because of the surprised look on the face of Romious. I think he's a pretty decent skill set guy. Well-rounded. Definitely more well-versed, especially in the grappling. And even if he does struggle a bit with Bolanos' striking, don't be surprised if Romious is successful on takedowns and dominating this fight where he's most comfortable, which is on the ground. But Romious also live to do damage on the feet is really what I'm trying to emphasize to you guys here. Odds for the fight, minus 225 for Cortavious Romious with Gaston Bolanos as plus 190, the underdog in this fight. And then looking at Romious inside of the distance, plus 100. I do think he's live to get a finish. Like I said, KO plus 500, not out of the realm of possibility, but more likely submission plus 165. But make sure you note that Romious does have submission success. A lot of times he is using strikes to set it up. And in this fight here, taking on a guy like Bolanos, who kickboxes well from range, I think Romious will have his best striking success in the boxing range. If he can get in more of that, like, you know, red/yellow zone, closer range, I think Romious is going to be able to showcase his slicker hands and his obvious speed advantage over Bolanos and touch him up a bit. And then potentially just time takedowns off that and have success. So, Cortavious Romious to beat Gaston Bolanos inside of the distance here. It's got to be the pick. Next fight on the card, our new co-main event of the evening. We have Gerald Meerschaert versus Reinier de Ridder. I've been picking Reinier de Ridder all week. If you don't know who he is, well, he's the former two-weight champ over in the ONE FC. His only losses in one championship and fighting in general are to the same guy, Anatoly Malikin. Malikin's like pretty powerful dude, strong, hits hard, well-rounded on the steroids. You know what I'm saying? So not really a fair fight to compare to him taking on Gerald Meerschaert. De Ridder's, you know, relatively okay at kickboxing. He's not going to make you say wow when he strikes, but he's competent. Gerald Meerschaert, you know, kind of similar as far as the striking goes. Both guys are not incredible on the feet, but I would say Meerschaert might have more punching power. I got to give respect to him dropping Bruno Silva. Meerschaert's a very crafty submission ace, but Reinier de Ridder is also very crafty with his grappling, and I think the offensive grappling attack and getting the fights into a position where he's most dominant has to favor Reinier de Ridder. A lot of times, like Gerald Meerschaert's wins come from him countering his opponent's attacks. Like he's rocked, he's getting beat up, he doesn't get finished, and then he locks up a sub. Whereas Reinier de Ridder does a better job of setting up the finish by submission. Weird fight, though. I mean, you could see Meerschaert throwing up sub attempts from the bottom. De Ridder doing, you know, some control from top, a minimal ground and pound as he looks for submissions. It could end up being a really awkward 3-round fight. Could be a fight that, you know, takes place on the feet for a fair amount of time. But I do think De Ridder has a live chance at takedowns. I think sub or decision for De Ridder, but I will say De Ridder has mentioned that if he's looking to actually do something in his UFC career, he knows he needs to look impressive here against GM3. I just think De Ridder's a pretty talented dude, and I am not going to overlook him because of rough losses to Malikin over in the ONE Championship. I think he can put it on Gerald Meerschaert. I think he'll be fine in the striking for sure. I think he can get to dominant position in the grappling. And even though Meerschaert is known for such good submission offense, he's been submitted several times in the past. If you look at GM3's submission loss record, he's got 8 losses by submission, opposite 29 wins, which is awesome. But De Ridder very live to lock up a sub in this fight too. So I'm going to pick Reinier de Ridder. Let's check the scales out. We got Gerald Meerschaert with the legendary porn stash. Look at the handlebar on the dude. Savage mode. We got Reinier Dan Hooker de Ridder trying to maybe even channel a little inner Charles Oliveira with the blonde hair. I respect the look. Then you can see De Ridder, a tall dude, bit of a height advantage in this fight here. You can tell, though, by the way Reinier de Ridder stands, that he's not an impressive striker, but he does have a really thick torso, and I think that is going to be an advantage in the grappling exchanges, especially with De Ridder more than likely the fighter that ends up in the top position. And that is why I'm going to pick him. Blocky build for Reinier de Ridder, and I think the better offensive wrestling attack and then the better ability to get to dominant position should give him a win. He's minus 310 as a wide favorite against GM3, who's sitting in that plus 250 range. Over 1.5 at minus 175 is not crazy. I think there's a real chance it goes over 1.5, especially both guys come out patient. De Ridder making his UFC debut. Now, the octagon jitters could make him get reckless early. Maybe it ends quicker, but I don't know. Something about the over 1.5 makes sense. De Ridder's alive for the submission, but do I want to go and gamble down on him winning by sub at just plus 190? Not really. Meerschaert by sub plus 600. I think there's a real chance this fight ends up going the distance, though. So over 1.5 at minus 175 is very live. De Ridder to win at minus 310 is the official pick. And I think submission or decision in this fight, hard to like confidently say, yeah, he's going to submit Gerald Meerschaert. But De Ridder has notable jiu-jitsu skills, and he's got a lot of wins by submission to his own credit. So I'm going to go with Reinier de Ridder, the former 1FC champ, to get it done here against GM3, and I do think there's a real chance that he pulls off a surprise submission in the fight. Now, before we jump to the main event, we had a very devastating fight cancellation. Ricky Turcios was not medically cleared after his weigh-in to fight Bernardo Sopa. We lost our co-main event. Earlier in the week, Cody Garbrandt pulled out. We lost our original co-main event. But what sucks more is Sopa was a part of my lock parlay for the week. So at the end, we're going to have to concoct something new and ride with a new lock parlay for the week. But first things first, let's jump to our main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. If you guys are new to the channel, subscribe it up. We got Neil Magny versus Carlos Prates. And I don't know how you couldn't pick Carlos Prates here. Like, you have to. There's certain absolutes in MMA, and fighting nerds for the win is a good absolute, especially when you have a clear-cut mismatch of timelines. What do I mean by that? Carlos Prates, 31, is a surging contender on the come-up. Neil Magny, at 37, is holding on to his best days. Yes, he fought against Mike Malott and won 2 fights ago. Mike Malott kind of got exposed as overrated, even in that Trevin Giles fight, and Neil Magny was losing majority of that fight. Last time, he was pressure wrestling early in the clinch with Michael Morales. Then he got caught with a spin elbow and finished with ground and pound. And that wasn't even long ago. It was literally 2.5 months ago. 2.5 months ago, you get rocked with a spinning elbow and finish with ground and pound. And now let's throw you one of the most terrifying strikers the welterweight division has seen in decades, maybe a decade. I don't know. I feel like one of the better strikers ever in the welterweight division, at least the way the technique looks. Carlos Prates is a slick Muay Thai / Brazilian kickboxer who's fought in Thailand. He's done pro kickboxing. He's done pro Muay Thai. He's very experienced in MMA with now his 27th fight. Precise as they get with kickboxing, very calm inside of the cage, and he trains with a great team in Fighting Nerds, which I will guarantee you has him prepared for the grappling of Neil Magny because he works alongside Caio Borralho, who's a tremendous grappler in the middleweight division. I think Carlos Prates right now is ready to face somebody like an Ian Gary. I think Carlos Prates is going to beat Neil Magny up, and I think he's going to knock Neil Magny out. I'm going Carlos Prates by violent finish. We've seen Neil struggle with calf kicks before. Expect Prates to go to that. Expect Prates to work teeps up the center. And expect Prates' hands to do some serious damage. Because a big difference between Prates and Ian Gary obviously beat Neil Magny up for 3 rounds. Prates actually has knockout power. Prates is a precise and powerful puncher who hits so clean and smoothly. It reminds me of a mix of Israel Adesanya and Alex Pereira. That's the blend between them. His style is a blend of that with a little Anderson Silva. And even Dana White himself said he reminds him of Anderson Silva. Prates seems like a very special talent, and I think Prates is getting the biggest win of his life Saturday, violently finishing Neil Magny. And I'll say second round knockout makes a lot of sense. There's Carlos Prates. I mean, he has the, Brazilian top contender vibe. He got the CP. He got the CP on the chest. That's actually funny. I know it stands for Carlos Prates, but it also stands for cream pie. Obviously, Prates does speak English, though. But to be fair, first language being Portuguese, the joke may go over the head a little bit. I like Prates a lot. He's been smoking cigarettes since he's 12. We'll find out if the gas tank holds up as he gets to some of these higher level guys. Then we got Neil Rastaman Magny. I'll be honest, bro. When I first looked at the screen, I was like, damn, it looks kind of like Bob Marley reincarnated stepping in the cage. I like the dreads for Magny. I got to say, it's a cool look for him. It gives him a, new aura vibe, but he's still a gatekeeper. And Magny, I don't think is going to be able to hold the gate closed here against Carlos Prates. There's the face-off. Prates looks mean per usual. Intense face-off. He's always doing that snarl. I like Prates. You guys know I'm a big Prates fan. Come on, how are you not? I think Carlos Prates is incredible. He seems like the guy to watch. He seems like the next big thing, and I think he is that good. And I think a violent knockout of Neil Magny is a certainty tomorrow. So let's go. Odds for the fight, minus 750. Let's celebrate. Oh my God. Fucking horrible odds. Minus 750, Prates, Neil Magny at plus 550 as the dog. Yeah, I'm confident Prates wins, but damn, bro, you have to parlay it to do anything. And even if you parlay the knockout, you're sitting at what right now? What's Prates KO? Now it's minus 350. It was minus 300 2 days ago. Prates by second round knockout. Mystic Mac in it. Plus 200. No, it's first round. Second round is actually plus 350. I'm feeling like Prates is live as fuck for that second round KO. I like Prates' chance to get a knockout win. I'm confident he's getting a victory. I think that he's winning impressively. The big worry would be, what if Neil Magny got him on his back? I think Prates' takedown defense is good. Note something. Guys with nice kicking skills, the dexterity that they have and the explosiveness with the hips, they can also translate that to good takedown defense. And Prates, long, smart, tall, powerful, I don't know, his aura's unmatched in the game. I think he's well-versed and ready to beat a Neil Magny, especially a 37-year-old Neil Magny who's been trading wins and losses for a long time. And a Neil Magny that did kind of bad with Phil Rowe 4 fights ago and won a close decision, and Prates is a completely different level than that. So Carlos Prates for the W. I see him getting it done. Those are the picks for UFC Vegas 100, but we're not done yet because I do want to discuss the parlays and the lock of the week, which it puts me in scramble mode when I lose my lock. I went with Lock City Parlay. Granted, the odds weren't great with Sopa and Gomes, but I was excited about it being a near guarantee, it seemed. I guess the right thing to do is just I have to now lock up Blackshear with Gomes. Let's see what the odds are officially at just for those two. I'm sad. I won't lie to you guys. I'm frustrated a little bit because I really like Sopa. Forget about the lock of the week, being obviously is important, but besides that, just simply as a fan, watching him fight was really exciting. Gomes and Blackshear to win is minus 153. I think that's, the new Lock City parlay, which frustrates me. It's not what I wanted to do, but it's kind of all I can do. I mean, if I want to be a schmuck, I could say, yeah, let's go with Prates and Gomes. I'm curious what the line is. Prates and Gomes, minus 281. I ain't doing a chalky parlay like that. But you could do Prates, Gomes, and Blackshear, or if you're feeling like a savage and you're like, no, I see the vision. Prates by knockout, even though it's not a great line, it's going to bring you into plus 125 if you go Gomes, Blackshear, Prates. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the parlays got their shit rocked because of, the pullout of Ricky Turcios and us losing the Sopa fight. And, we no longer have the ability to, keep the same magic. But it's okay because, I think the calls are still pretty fuego, all things considered. I'm sitting here thinking, though, Charles Radtke's vibe looked unmatched. I think Radtke's very live in a parlay piece. I think Radtke's live to get a violent win. I like the chances of Radtke. If you're potentially thinking about adding to your parlay, like Charles Radtke for a good line with Damon Blackshear, and then you ride with the damn side of Prates to win, plus 155. That seems like a sure hitter. Even if you don't want to play the main event, Jillian Robertson in a ladies fight plus 190, or potentially Denise Gomes doesn't give you as much plus money, but you're at plus 170, then you can go D-Gen it up. If you're really looking to put D-Gen shit together, yes, you have to add the side of Chuck Buffalo, Charles Radtke onto your calls. You know, very lucky of me, though, that this week I dropped 5 most confident picks on top of the lock of the week being a parlay because we had more options to bring in. So still have 4 most confident picks on the card alongside of, a new parlay lock of the week. So I like where everything is at. I'm feeling pretty good about the parlay calls. I mean, the Savage D-Gen line, it loses the Sopa fight. So I'm just going to quickly recheck the odds of what they're looking at now, just so I can read off the updated look. So Prates by KO, which, like I said, around minus 300. If you're lucky, you can even find it at minus 275, but depends where you're at. And then obviously we lose Sopa, which frustrates me, but it's all good. Jillian Robertson in a ladies fight should probably win. Denise Gomes in a ladies fight seems like a sure hitter against the near 40-year-old Kowalkiewicz. And then we add a little more steam with Abdul-Malik inside distance. This one is definitely D-Gen. Even though I think Abdul-Malik wins, when you're going inside distance for a debuting guy, it's a little degenerate of a call. But we got to concoct the magic. Blackshear to win the fight. Where's my guy Blackshear? There he is. I'm relining it up, man. I'm getting everything brought together. Romious, where's the boy? Where's the boy Romious? Well, we'll put Zaleski and Radtke in first, and then we'll get Romious. Here we go. So that line went from plus 1474. Now, when you lose the fight with Sopa, it's still 10-1. It's plus 1,067, which I still believe is a good D-Gen call. All the parlays still stand with confidence. We're still bringing the fire. If you watched last week, we brought absolute W City with the parlays, and we're keeping the same energy this week as I make myself disappear for a second. Look at that. That was like John Cena, bro. You couldn't see me, yo. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's weigh-in recap show. Definitely let me know what you think in the comments of the picks. Smash the damn like button. If you're new, subscribe. Tune into the Fight Companion. It's going to be a fun card. Even though we lost a ton of fights, I still think we're going to get some violent action this Saturday. And then next week, UFC 309. So my anticipation is really building. I'm happy we got a pay-per-view coming up. I've been critical of that pay-per-view, but don't get it twisted. I'm still excited for the numbered event. It's going to be a fun card. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you all in the next one. W's in the comments if you got nothing to say. Peace out. Good night. Bye-bye.